So we just had the best warm up ever, Blair.
Guys,
so we just did like a 45-minute live stream in private mode. So that's great. Now I think we are in public mode. I'm fairly certain. We just need to see one little person up there, and then we can be sure.
Okay.
Because I told everyone. Okay, so customization. It's definitely public. So we just need to wait for one person to appear here.
Good. Can I have some water?
Yeah.
In the meantime, we actually
Thanks,
went on for 45 minutes in private mode.
Yes, but now it's going to be released as a video, and now we're warmed up so that anyone can ask any questions. Participants.
Looks like we got 2 people.
We got 2 people. Hi, guys. So for those of you that have just signed in, the 2 people watching, we just did a 45-minute live stream in private mode, so that's going to come out as a video. But for anyone here, just ask Blair any questions. A little bit of intro. Blair and I met a while ago. We have the same social circle. We move in the same circles. We've done like loads of events and things like that together. But just like ask us anything. Just come here and ask Blair whatever you want to know, because I did a poll earlier and I said, what do you guys want to see? Like interviews with my friends, like girlfriends, different things, and everyone voted for that. So everyone wants to kind of like see more of this stuff. So I won't make you go over anything that you've already been through. But yeah, I mean, like what's sort of a summary of that, or like how do we put that into one sentence?
Yeah, definitely, guys. So by the way, I'm Blair. I'm a very close friend of Sam. I've known Sam for almost a year now, and for the past 45 minutes, and I think you would see the video soon, I've been just talking about my dating life and all the funny experiences that I had with guys and men's in London. Kind of like Sex in the City, like living in London City for the last 6 years. So feel free to ask me any questions. Just here to help my friend Sam. And all of you, basically, if you want to understand what girls like on dates, what they don't like on dates, what they're looking from men in general. Just happy to answer any questions.
We were just talking before this about sort of Blair's type. Because you don't go for the conventional type of guy. She doesn't go for the like typical kind of Chad, like good looking, really tall, well built. Blair goes for more kind of, I wouldn't say effeminate. That would be that would be insulting to your exes, but
to my the feminine women as well.
Yeah, for sure. But you certainly don't have the typical. She certainly doesn't have the typical like guy that you'd expect, right? And we've gone over like dating apps and things like that. You've been on dating apps before, but generally it's just like good looking guys, but the conversation doesn't go anywhere because you don't have any commonality or common interests. So why don't we start here, just because I know that we haven't gone there yet.
We can start over, yeah.
I'm not going to start again because that would just be too tedious for words. But let's talk about maybe the street. What's your experience being approached by guys like in the daytime, for example?
To be honest, I feel like in the kind of environment I live in, and kind of me and Sam kind of run in the same social circles. I also work in sales myself, and I feel like I meet a lot of people on a day-to-day basis. So I kind of live in more of a banking area in London. Most of the guys I bump into are investment banker, rich, successful guys. They're good looking at the same time and do have some basic social skills. But I would say that in the past few months, I've been really struggling to really like connect with anybody. I feel like people, I don't know if it's London City in general as well, but I feel like they all the conversations I have are very superficial. Like it's just about very like basic things like the weather or poker or just like the interest rates. Like I genuinely struggle to connect with someone and feel like home with someone.
Yeah, no, it makes sense.
Yeah.
But like, okay, so that's because you kind of meet them in our circles. But has a guy ever just come up to you and just like said hi in the street, like, hey, I think you're cute, I wanted to get to know you?
Yeah,
Let's
that has
just be
happened
honest.
once.
Like, how do you respond to that?
To be honest, like I've been approached by some very creepy guys on the street, but at the same time, some very hot guys. So one guy.
So you define hot on one side and creepy on the other side?
Yeah, hot on one side and creepy.
Is the opposite of hot?
Oh my God, I didn't even realize until I said it, but maybe that's true at some level.
So do you think if a guy says something and he's good looking, it's okay, but if he's not good looking, it's not? Like what besides, because I don't even think you're type of good, you don't even go for a conventionally good looking guy, so I guess it is relative.
That's an insult to my ex, but
okay, I
don't mind that. I don't mind that.
I like her ex a great deal, but he's not what you would what most people would think of as like a really good looking guy, or really he's not any like
he's not
perfect.
he's not like picture perfect like Brad Pitt, like got big muscles and like the perfect physique.
Okay.
For sure. No, to be honest, I would say a creepy guy is somebody who is just very weird. I mean, definitely someone who is like smells like weed. A lot of guys in London smell like cigarettes and weed or alcohol. If someone ever approaches to me smelling like any of these things, it's an immediate big no for me. If someone's dressed very shabby, whose shirts aren't ironed or clothes aren't ironed well, who doesn't smell good, who doesn't have his hair done properly, either it's like very like say a bit, what do you call it, sticky or sticky or just not washed. He's wearing just a random cap because he's like, oh, I didn't wash my hair today, let me just
Right.
put on a cap.
So looks are not just in any way genetics. They're about how you're presenting yourself, like
Exactly.
how you're actually looking after yourself, how you're expressing yourself. Because I would say that your type of good looking is not what I would imagine.
I mean, it's not the most like conventional Hollywood good-looking guys, right? It's not like someone who needs to have the perfect abs and perfect body and the perfect physique. As long as they they kind of dress well, have a good personality and a good attitude, it's fine. It's okay. You can say like, okay, this is somebody I can trust. He's not creepy. So one guy did approach me actually, and he was a journalist. Journalist for, I think it was a Financial Times or somebody. Very handsome guys, well dressed, good shoes,
Handsome
good clothes.
for you or handsome typically? Because your type of handsome is like 5'8", doesn't work out, slightly effeminate, shaven face, coy. So let's make that clear. What kind of?
Let's say, I mean, kind of look like you, to be honest. Like blonde hair, blue eyes, clean face, no beard.
You know how ugly I was when I was young. When I was 18 years old, I had my hair across here, I had acne, and no one looked at me.
Oh my god!
I think literally 80% of my looks, let's say, I don't think I'm a particularly good looking guy, but 80% of my looks are presentation. Like my genetics, I would say, aren't actually that good. When I was younger, I was not at all a good looking guy.
And I completely agree with that. It's all about presentation. I don't think anyone needs to be born pretty. I don't think I was born pretty either. It's all about like working out, get your hair straight, get your makeup straight, just make yourself clean. Like I think anybody can look good as long as you put work in it.
Yeah. So what would you define as like? So you said that's only happened once. You've only been approached once.
I've been approached many times, but there was one guy that I particularly liked who was very handsome, very dreamy. It's just a bit weird though because I feel like sometimes guys act with a bit of urgency. So I met him at Oxford Street. I liked him. We had a conversation. I gave him my number. I went home. Then he texted me that night. He's like, hey, I'm in town with a friend. I mean, I want to go on a double date tonight. So can you and your friend come to the city for drinks? And I'm like, first of all, that's a 2-hour notice. And second of all, it's not just about bringing me there. It's like I have to bring a date with me as well. So it's like not only do I have to be free, I have to bring a friend who's free as well. And also, we don't know what your friend looks like. So I can't convince my friend whether she'll like him or not. I mean, she'll still do it for me. But it's just a bit of a short notice.
He gave you 2 hours notice.
He gave me 2 hours notice.
So this guy, I mean, that's not a very elegant way of doing it. How did you feel about that?
I felt a bit like, okay, that's first of all not polite because you're just assuming I'm free for you. You could have given me 24-hour notice. That's absolutely fine. If you ask me, hey, look, I'm in town with a friend. Let's go out tomorrow. Can you bring a friend? Because I don't want him to third wheel. That's absolutely fine. But a 2-hour notice is a little bit arrogant. And then I said, look, I'm busy tonight, maybe the weekend. And then he never asked me out again. So that's a lot of guys too.
Yeah. So what do you think, like, in terms of, because the looks thing is obviously important, right? If you're a guy and you go out to the street and you're wearing like a dirty t-shirt, your teeth are all fucked up and they've got a bit like beams stuck in between them, your hair's off, you haven't washed, you stink. Like if that's all happening, you literally have no chance. It doesn't matter about your genetics. Like if you're doing that, like girls are just like, why would you do that? Like why would you do it? It's going to give you very, very, very little chance. But so obviously that side of presentation is very important. But when you meet a guy like in our circles, the events that we do together, do you feel like you have a lot more leeway on looks, let's say? Because obviously if you meet someone first thing on a dating app or even in the street to some extent, it's like, well, all you know is their looks before you formed a connection.
100%.
But do you have more leeway when you meet him in a social environment at one of our events or something like that?
Oh yeah, I completely agree with Sam on this one. Like every time I meet somebody, say randomly on a street or someone I have no history with, say even a random guy asked me in a gym I've never seen before, or
gym?
random, yeah, in a gym, because if I've never seen him before, if I've spoken to him a few times, it's a different thing. But if I've never seen him before, or even in a cafe. If I've never seen him before, the first thing and the only thing I know about him, and this is natural because the only thing I know about you, because I've never spoken to you before, is your beauty. So obviously that's the first thing I judge. And based on your beauty and the way you dress and the way you look, I'm going to make a decision. But obviously, like the guys I have met in my social environments, it's because I kind of knew them as a person. They connected more at a deeper level. First of all, when you meet somebody who runs in your circles, it's like you hear about them from your friends.
Yeah.
And if you hear good things about them from your friend, it builds a credibility. So you already have that expectation set. Second thing is that they run in your circle, so you kind of trust them more because they're one of you, basically. And you see them more in a natural environment. Like the guys in my circle, I just see them in like, their gym shorts, coming back home sweaty from gym, going to work, running with their lattes. Like they're just so busy that they don't have time to even like dress themselves up. But I see them in a very like natural environment, so I know who they really are. Because if I meet somebody, say on a dating app, and on the first date, obviously they're going to dress up and look very good and try to make a presentation of themselves, which may not be true in their day-to-day life. So the guys I know who are my friends and who I engage with them on a daily basis, they are the ones who I really truly know. So I would cut them a slack, right? Like they might not be perfect. I wouldn't say my ex was perfect in any way. I think he was really cute and exotic, but he wasn't the typical Hollywood macho hot guy that you would meet with the very confident personality. He was shy, introvert.
So clearly, like the streets, it's harder, right? Like if a guy's going out in the street, he's going to have less chance than if the same guy was in your circle or you met him at one of our events at jiu-jitsu or in the church that we went to 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, Sam and I went to a church, by the way.
We were looking for God and
we're looking for God.
For Blair. So how do you, because a lot of the things that I'm teaching the guys is like how they can actually form these social circles. And like in the same way with you, when you were on dating apps, I was like, Blair, like fucking delete them. These are the worst types of guys. That the ones you're going for are literally going to be the worst of the lot. They're going to be the ones that are spoiled, that didn't have to develop their personalities, they get all the attention from girls and have just like, they're godless. It's all going to be all the heathens at the top of that pile, essentially. So like, how would you, I have an idea, but obviously, but how would you recommend that guys kind of would get into like a circle? I'm not saying like ours, but like, how would they find a group of people in the same way that like
I did,
do,
how I changed myself, right? So I was the kind of girl who a year ago went and met all the guys in dating apps. So obviously when I went to university, it was very easy because when you're in a uni, if any one of you go to university, please join clubs and societies. I was in like 15 different societies back in university. I'm going out literally every day. And please, when you go out, I know the typical culture here is just to drink and party and get drunk. But bear in mind that you're not going to meet a good friend, a good person, or a good girlfriend in a drunk, crazy environment. You can only meet a real friend or a real girlfriend in a calm social environment where you actually have the space and the environment to talk to each other and really get to know each other. And when you're doing like more team building exercises, so sports societies are great ways. Like I joined a lot of sports societies in my uni days. I still go to like some sporting events now as well. And I would say even like team building, like if it's volleyball or basketball or something where it's like team building sports events, it's a great way to meet somebody, for sure. Dating apps, in my experience, don't work very well either.
They don't work. Yeah, they don't work well because everyone's going on all that they have, which is looks. Right? And if you're just going for someone on looks, you can be sure that everyone else is using the same criteria. And if everyone else is using the same criteria, then that person has all of the options, which makes them have less cause to be ethical. And as we talked about in the other video, we live in a society where there's no cultural repercussions for being like a dick, right? So dating apps are just the worst way. I will come to some of the questions. So just this guy asks a good question. He says, "Hi, Sam. We've already talked about this, but for anyone that was late, how did you meet Blair and how was your first date?" Me and Blair have never gone on a date. I was dating Blair's one of Blair's best friend. Actually, your best friend.
My best friend, yeah.
And they were going to a club called Tiger in Piccadilly for Blair's birthday. And I was dating Blair's friend. And I said, no, you will not take your friends Tiger. So I brought them to a nice club that one of my friends runs. And that's how we got to know one another.
Yeah, we went to a club called a Dolce
in South Kensington.
in South Kensington. And Sam basically helped me and my friends get into this very nice classy club. And that's actually I think that kind of helped my best friend. He created a good impression on my best friend as well, because it's like he was helping a friend. And I felt very impressed with this guy because, look, it's my birthday and he made my day special. So that already makes him look like a nice guy. So my friends already like him. So if I already like him, that gives me incentive to go to my best friend and be like, hey, you should go out on a date with this guy. He really helped us that night.
100%.
Yeah.
But she is gassing me right now. But the point is true. If you're dating a girl and she's like, oh yeah, we're thinking of going to this bar, and you're like, no, there's a better bar. Like, you should try this one over here. I know someone who works there. Like, I can get you guys a table. You're obviously going to be in her good books because you're just solving her problem, and women just likes a guy who voluntarily solves her problems. Like, you have an issue at work, you tell him, he notes it, and then he fixes it, and the next day you don't have the problem. Like, you're like fucking impressed by that because it shows that he's caring, that he like is actually thinking about you. It's just a very, very attractive quality. So yeah, she's gassing me, but the point is kind of valid.
It's true. To be honest, I do that as well. So I have a crush on this guy, and that's why I'm trying to be close to his friends, because I kind of run in circles with his friends. So I'm just trying to be close with his friends and try to be nice with them and kind of build a relationship with them, just because I have a crush on his friend. So I feel like this trick and it has worked for me because...
Yeah, it works because it makes it easier for him to talk to you, right?
Yeah.
If you're hanging out with his friends and he's maybe a little bit nervous, and you go for generally guys who are a little bit more shy or nervous, then by you just being in his space, it gives him a really easy way in. And if he doesn't want to, then it clears it up, right? If he doesn't talk to you, then you know he's not interested, or it's not going to go anywhere. Good evening, you two. Good evening, Tommy. This is one of my this is my coach, Tommy. He's in Germany. Say good evening to Tommy.
Good evening, Tommy.
On average, how many times do you get approached in the daytime on a weekly basis?
To be I would say on average I would at least get hit by not to be hit on by.
Big difference there, Blair. Please clarify for the audience. Not hit.
I get, or say on average, I would say one guy a day that would flirt with me, more on a weekend, because on weekend I tend to go to lots of parties. So when I'm on a party, I would say on average 3-4 guys tend to flirt with me
a week, or an evening party. But what about like in the daytime? Like, let's say you're going to, the thing is that like in the daytime. So outside of like nightclubs, parties, and then maybe we can cover that as well.
I would say like one a day for me personally. I mean, I think depends on, like, if you go to a party, obviously it's going to be a lot more people. But if you're just like going to work, coming home, going to the gym, going to bed, I would say like one on a day. Like, I would say, I mean, for me, it's like, because I work in sales, I socialize a lot. We go out. Sometimes even my own colleagues hit on me. I live in a social environment where we just have a lot of social events almost every day. We go to boxing class, we go to yoga class, go to arts class, salsa, everything. I feel like, I guess one guy a day. So that to answer your question,
For sure. And what about, and you mentioned there was like only one in the street, but I think guys are really interested because a lot of them, basically what I'm teaching is not just to meet women through the streets, but if you're a nervous, shy guy, or you're really trying to develop your confidence and get better, if you go out onto the street and talk to a lot of women, you do just learn the confidence, right? You just become a better communicator. You put yourself through a lot of difficult situations and you become more confident. So how often does it happen to you, like outside of work environments, outside of party environments, event environments?
Okay.
You'd just be walking down the street in Oxford Street or Covent Garden. How rare is that?
To be honest, in my personal experience, like a lot of creeps asks me out on the street. I personally don't enjoy it. Like if I'm walking and going somewhere, I don't like to be stopped by, say, someone who's holding an environmental poster or just a guy asking me on a date. For me, I would say if it's going to be outside my normal circle, say if I'm a lot of the times I go to a cafe and do my work from a cafe. So when I'm sitting on a cafe and doing my work, I'm happy for somebody to approach me. I think a cafe is a good
Has that
environment.
happened?
Yeah, I think it has happened on occasion, not that often.
Was it
which is-
nice the way they did it?
Definitely, if somebody, when I'm working in a cafe and somebody asks me out, I think that's really great, because it's like I'm already relaxed, I'm calm, I'm doing my work, but I do have a time for like 2-3 minutes to talk, and I think it's a more of an appropriate environment
Yeah.
rather than just me walking down the street and someone like running after me and be like, hey, can you stop for a minute? I need to speak with you. I'm like, oh my god, who
Yeah.
are you?
For sure. It's
Yeah.
like the lowest rate of return. Like it's very rare. Even like for me, it's very, very rare. It's like 1 in 8 or 1 in 9 of the girls that I will go and run up to in the street, I'm going to end up seeing. Either from my end, I won't message them, or from their end. And
Yeah.
obviously, I'm fairly good at that. But it's just very low yield. But if a guy does that, you might have talked to a few guys who you're like, God, that was weird. I didn't
Yeah.
like it. But then that guy, if he's done that enough and he's sort of built up the communication skills, he's
Yeah.
more resilient, he's more confident, then he sees you in a cafe.
Yeah.
That guy might come into the cafe and actually be able to have a real conversation with you.
Yeah.
And you also make it very easy for people to have conversations with you, because you ask a lot of questions yourself and you're quite quick. You're not one of these girls that will just stare weirdly at him.
Yeah.
You'll like ask questions straight away.
To be honest, yeah, I would say cafe is a bit more relaxed environment as well, because if I'm just like walking and running down the Oxford Street, I have like places to be. But if I'm on a cafe, I'm sitting and I'm calm, there's nowhere I can go, so I'm a bit confined as well. So I might as well spend like 2 minutes talking to you.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. This guy says, I used to be in day game meeting girls in the street, but 80% of women don't like meeting strangers in the street. That's why I only go to events or friends parties. It makes sense. If you're only doing it to actually meet like your girl or wifey or get a date, then events are way better. But if you go to that event and you've never had a hard conversation, you're not going to be a good communicator.
Yeah.
And the women at the event aren't going to want to talk to you because you're going to suck. So the point I'm trying to make, guys, is that the streets is like a really good training ground for you to just fucking develop resilience and do something difficult, even if, like, let's say 80% of the time it doesn't go well. And you've also had it where it has gone well. But then he was a bit arrogant and he didn't message you.
To be honest, just once, again, like if I'm walking down the streets and someone's chasing me, I would feel like attacked. Maybe take out my pepper spray.
But what if he was your type? He was like 5'8", 5'9", feminine face.
5'8". I don't date below 5'11", but okay.
Bollocks, Blair, that's bollocks. I've seen your
How
ex.
tall are you?
5'10".
Okay, so my ex was his height.
No, he's smaller than me.
No,
he's 5'9".
Oh my god.
Costa's 5'9".
You just said his name.
Doesn't matter. No one knows. Mr. Roster. Blair's ex Roster.
Okay.
He was like 5'9", and so girls have this
But
idea.
he's not my-
They're like, oh, I like tall guys. I like 6'2", but they don't actually have a reference of how tall they are.
That's
so
true.
people would just think I'm 6 foot because they're
Yeah.
just like, oh, you're relatively. I'm nothing like 6 foot. It's just like as long as you're like a bit taller than her, in most cases, it's fine. So let's say your guy comes up in the street and he's not all weird and like, hey, I just wanted to get your number. He's just like, hey, sorry, I know this is a little bit unusual, but you walked past me and you caught my eye, and I'd feel like an idiot if I didn't come and talk to you. And he was your type, and he was dressed well, and he was well presented. Would you or would you not give him a chance?
Depends again where it is. Like if I'm in a shop, say Zara, buying something, so I'm actually looking through the clothes, so I'm actually kind of like stable and calm. Yes, that's a good place. If I'm in a candy shop and I'm buying some candies, his pickup line could be like, "Hey, that's my favorite candy too." Good way to start a conversation, I would say.
Picking up kids from the sweet shop.
Hey, I like candies. Or where else could I be? I could be at a bookstore reading a magazine, and if he just goes like, "Oh, what's that magazine about?" So I would say, like, if I'm doing something, or if I'm buying a dress and looking at the dress, he could be like, "Hey, you know what? Sorry to interrupt you. I just think the dress would look really nice on you. Just wanted to say that. Just wanted to let you know." And actually, that did happen to me.
Yeah.
I was once shopping a dress. I think it was like Ted Baker, one of my favorite brands, and I was trying on a dress, and I was just looking at the mirror. I wasn't really sure if I want to buy it, and this guy passes by. He's like, "Hey, so sorry to interrupt. I think that dress looks really nice on you, by the way, and I think you look very cute." And I'm like, "Oh my god, thank you!" And then I ended up giving him my number.
Yeah.
So I feel like if you kind of have a reason to approach that person, we know it's not a really reason, but it's just an excuse. It's a good way to start a conversation.
Elegant, right? It makes
It's
it elegant.
elegant,
It makes
yeah.
you feel like, okay, this guy's got some charm. He's got some class. Like, it's a little bit more stylish than just like being like, "You're hot. Can I take you out?" And you're like, who the fuck are you? Where did you come from? Like, what's going on? Blair, When you meet a guy on a first, this is from Nick Julian. When you meet a guy on a date for the first time, how important are the first 5 minutes? Do you already make your mind up for him?
No, definitely not. I feel like even the first 5 minutes for me are very awkward as well, because it's like I'm usually very nervous on the first date. And I feel like it takes me at least like 15 minutes to break the ice. So I might be weird and awkward myself in the first 15 dates. I don't expect the guy to be
15 minutes.
sorry, 15 minutes. 15 minutes.
Yeah.
But yeah, it takes me a bit of a time to be calm and comfortable with the person as well. So I wouldn't judge him on the first 15 minutes. I would say a first date goes on for like 3-4 hours at least. If it's a dinner date, I would say 2 hours or something. So I would definitely give him the benefit of the doubt. In my personal experience, the first half an hour is a bit awkward, but after that, I start connecting with the guy in the
100%.
later half of the date.
So that's actually a very, very interesting point. Because a lot of the time, guys, when you go on a first date and you're feeling like a bit nervous and you're like, oh shit, I don't think she likes me. Most of the time, she's just like shy as well.
Nervous
and, like,
herself, yeah.
Focused on herself, and she's not actually paying too much attention. Problem is, if it becomes very obvious that you're extremely self-conscious, then she completely relaxes. She's like, oh, this guy's nervous. And it almost takes so much of the pressure off her that it puts it all onto you. So it's better if you can just kind of stay calm and just figure it out with her. Like, your goal in your mind should be like, I want her to be comfortable. I want to learn everything I can about her. So just asking her questions about herself. What does she like to do? Like, where does she spend her time? Like, really getting to know her, because it takes a lot of the pressure off you. It's also attractive for her that you're genuinely interested, and she gets to talk about herself. Would you agree?
Yeah, to be honest, I would say one of the key things about guys on the first date is that be calm. Like, some of the guys get too defensive sometimes. Like, if I say something like, "Oh, ha ha ha, that's you messed up your haircut," or "Ha ha, that's oh, you're wearing a pink scarf, that's a bit girly." Like, sometimes I make stupid jokes, and a lot of girls make stupid jokes because they're nervous. Like, even if we think very highly of ourselves, like I think I'm a pretty girl, right? Like, I do know I'm a pretty girl, and I think I'm a pretty girl. I'm sure that's the case with a lot of my friends, but we still feel nervous maybe on the first date because I'm meeting somebody who I have never dated before. So it's not an insecure thing. It's just like, I don't know you and I have to speak with you. So it's more of a different kind of nervousness. So I may say stupid things. So instead of being defensive or offended or just being aggressive or trying to prove yourself, like a lot of guys even just remember this guy, Sam, hooked me up once with, and he just came and just started talking full about himself, his business, how much money he makes, all the success he has in his life, and just started to basically talk about all his positive points and basically started bragging about himself just to, I think he was very nervous himself and he just wanted me to like him. That made me more uncomfortable.
It's like the ugliest expression of nervousness. The best expression of nervousness is just like, oh, she might be, it's like empathy. If you're nervous and you should be like, okay, she might be nervous too. I'm looking after her. I invited her out, so she's my responsibility. And as a man, you just take responsibility and say, like, I just want her to be comfortable. Maybe that sounds like a bit of a weak mindset. It's not. It's the strongest mindset you can have. If you put yourself in the role of the protector when you go on a date with a girl for the first time, it takes all the pressure off you to perform and all of it to just make sure that she's good and that she's okay.
I mean, I would also say that sometimes keep things simple. I feel like sometimes guys try too hard, right? They break the ice with like a funny story or a funny experience or something a bit complex. They start talking about like, oh, this wine, I've been to vineyards in Spain. This is my favorite wine. I don't drink whiskey. I'm a wine guy. Please start it simple and keep it simple. Just be like sometimes it's okay. Like if I'm sitting on a table across to you on a date, just hold my hand. Like the second somebody holds my hand, and don't hold it tight. I would say the best way to hold your hand is just like grab the first few tips of your fingers slowly like that, literally like a princess, and that automatically calms me down. Hold my hand. Just
How
be like,
early can you hold your hand, Blair?
I would say from 5 minutes after the date is fine because it's not sexual, it's not aggressive. You're just holding the tip of my finger.
So establishing physical contact.
Exactly. And it just makes me feel like, look, we're here together. Just relax. Just start simple. Be like, hey, how are you? How was your day? How have you been? That's it. Don't start with something
100%.
Complicated. Please keep it simple in the beginning.
Yeah. Agreed. Sam, have you ever been friends with a girl and the girl has maybe introduced you to someone that you ended up dating? Yeah, loads of times. That's happened with my sister. My sister's introduced me to girls that I ended up dating. If you have a lot of girlfriends and you're looking for someone, like Blair's even just given me advice, but like, go to this place. There's loads of girls that like we can help each other. If we're both single, we can just like help each other, right? Your best your girlfriends are your best like
Definitely.
are your best wingmen. If you go to an event like a club or something, and I show up with Blair, one of Blair's girlfriends, one of my guy friends, it's so much easier for me to talk to the girls, because I can just go up and say like, hey, I was just with my friends over there, and they see a couple of girls over there. They're like, oh, okay, this guy's safe. He's got two like pretty girls with him.
Definitely.
Like, he's legit. I'm not worried about him. If I turn up with 4 guys and like my friends over there, they're like, okay, some more like
a bunch of lads down
trying to pick up chicks. If you have girlfriends with you, in
credibility,
in your
big
pictures,
credibility
on your Instagram, at the events that you go to, in the club, in the bars, like, they are by far your greatest asset. And everything that I've ever learned about like communication, men and women, dating, everything, I've learned way more from women than I have from men. I've learned more from my sister than from any man, just from talking to her and seeing how she responds, and like reading between the lines of what she says, and like seeing how she behaves. Like, I learn way more from women than from men.
No, definitely. I would say bear in mind that women have a very strong environment, and in this feminist world, there is something called women to women. So if I go up to a woman and I recommend a guy, 90% that she's definitely going to go on a date with a guy because a woman recommended her.
Yeah.
And even if I say I like a guy and I'm not really sure about him, he's confusing me, I'm not sure if he's a bad guy or like a hot guy, and if he has a girlfriend who I know or a mutual friend with, I would go and ask the girl and be like, hey, tell me a bit about your friend. What's his deal? And I would trust a woman.
Yep.
So having women friends, that's your biggest asset.
100%.
Yeah.
So what do you think is the best way for the guys to make them? So how is a guy who just hangs out with dudes? What's the best? Let's move it closer because it's getting loud.
Yeah.
What's the best way for a guy to make female friends? Like, to just have girls in his social circle? That may be a hard question, but
I would say the first thing is like find one female friend who has many other female friends, and that's it. Because I have lots of female friends, and when I met Sam, I was like, oh my god, Sam's a really cool guy. So I started inviting him to my parties when I lived back in Paddington, and in my parties I invited all of my other girlfriends as well, and that credibility just builds himself
100%.
Because it's like, he's with me, right? So it's like, he's my friend, you're my friend, now you can be each other's friends. So just find one girl who has lots of girlfriends. It can't be that hard to find one girl.
Yeah, and that exchange really works, because then I would do events on the Sunday events, and then I would invite you, and then you would invite your girlfriends, and then they would seen me at the party, and it was like, you can just build a circle like that, and you don't even need to see them. Like, I could see one of your girlfriends like every 2 months, and it would just be like, oh, hey, how are you doing? It's like
they
normal.
know you.
It's like you're part of that tribe, and so you don't need to like maintain any type of link. It's just you're in the same family.
One thing to remember is that we women gossip a lot. All of us, doesn't matter how busy we are with our life. So if Sam does something stupid, it's highly possible that I'm going to tell all my girlfriends. But at the same time, if Sam does something nice for me, even if something as simple as like if he sees me walking down the street with heavy bags and he carries those bags for me, I'm going to tell my girlfriends.
Yeah, girls do gossip.
Girls do gossip. Never forget.
But girls are also looking for different things. Like, that might affect them if they're looking for a partner, but not if they're looking for a one-night stand. Like, if you were like to your girlfriends, this guy who's like really confident, and he's like good looking, he's in good shape, he's well presented, he didn't help me with my bags because he was busy. They're like, okay, fine, but like, he's got it. So I think it kind of depends on the relationship, but certainly if you're trying to build like a tribe and a social circle, you just want to be nice to the people around you. Like, you just want to make sure that everyone is comfortable, and that you're willing to sacrifice your comfort, what you're doing, to make sure that others are good. That will repay you massively. Like,
I would say to hang out with Sam, I had to go a bit of my comfort zone as well, because Sam is very sporty and athletic and likes to do like tough activities on the weekend. Like, we do, what did we do together? We did climbing.
We've done a climbing. You missed a couple of the really athletic ones. We did trampoline, we did climbing.
I was with trampoline, we went swimming in the docks, we done jiu-jitsu. So Sam is a very like athletic guy, and I do enjoy sports, but not as athletic as him. So I feel like sometimes it's difficult for me to hang out with Sam because it's kind of like he likes to do something that really challenges me, but in the same time, I love spending time with Sam and his friends.
Yeah.
So I hang out anyway. Like, I had zero interest in jiu-jitsu, but I did it just to hang out with Sam and his friends.
To be with the gang.
Just to be with the gang.
Yeah.
And I feel like Sam's done some similar things for me as well. Like, so he's come with me to Thursday events and he finds them godless, but he just did it because I'm like, Sam, I need somebody to come with me. And he's like, you know what? I'll do it for you, Blair.
Yeah.
So get out of your comfort zone.
But I wouldn't do it with the like I wouldn't go out with my guy friends Thursday. It's much more appealing to go out with girls to an event like that. Yeah. It's much more fun. But that's a really good point. I don't want to scoop over that. If you're a guy and you want to kind of build a social circle or like meet friends, find one girl and just like legit friend zone yourself. Like not in the way of like you're trying to hook up with her, but she's not interested, so she's messaging you just to get attention. Not like that. Like actually be friends with her. Like actually try and connect with her as a person. Talk to her about her love life. Get her, like let her talk to you about it. Be friends with her, and then meet her girlfriends, and then automatically you have social proof. Like other girls will just see you as much more of an appealing prospect when you have the girls around you. So guys, it's getting late. We also have another 45 minutes. We've done this.
If you have more questions, I'm happy to answer them.
Yeah, guys, why don't you ask some questions as we wind down? I think we've answered all of the non-troll questions.
Well, hi Sam and Blair. What about being approached in shops? That's
shopping malls, shops. You said in shops, right? You said in Zara, if someone like comments like, "Hey, just want to say you look great in that dress," or if you're in a bookshop and someone's like, "Hey, what's that magazine?"
Yeah, literally. Just find an excuse to talk to me. But if I'm just walking down the street, if someone's approaching me without anything, like at least say something like, "Hey, that's a nice coat or a nice jacket. I want to buy something similar," even though I know you don't. Like, please find an excuse. Just don't come up to me and be like, "Hey, I think you're cute. What's your number?" I'd be like, "Oh my God, where's my pepper spray?" Yeah.
So it's.
I have a question. How can I become a millionaire? Well, what I do on the side is a real estate hustle. So let's have a separate conversation. Though I would need some
Blair for real estate consultancy.
I gotta
none
need
of my business,
money.
But come through me because I'll be taking commission. You're doing great. Keep going. You mean with the live stream? We can't go on forever, mate. Is that a Greek name, Blair?
Is that my ex?
Thanks, Tommy. I'm 30 years old. I don't have any girlfriends. Fred, it's time to find one girl that you can be friends with. How are you going to do that? Well, go to events, go to martial arts class, go to jiu-jitsu class, go to yoga class, arrive early, leave late, talk to them about how they're progressing, when are they looking to get their blue belt, how long have they been coming from, make legit friends with them, don't expect anything from them, don't try and hook up with them, make friends with a girl.
Don't hook up with her, I would say it can be something as simple. So I have a colleague who just moved from Italy to London, and he's a cool guy, right? He's around 30. I'm much younger than him, and he just moved to my company. We had a professional relationship, but he kind of built that up. Like after work, he would just come and talk to me in a very respectful manner and be like, "Hey, so what are your interests outside work?" And one day I remember vaguely just talking to him about my real estate business, and he told me how much he's into real estate, just to like build that connection and be friends with me. And I'm like, "Oh my God, you like real estate, I like real estate. Let's go get a drink and discuss business strategies," because that's just how I function. Every girl have very different hooks. So I felt like, and then I really liked the fact that he's trying to build that relationship with me. And I kind of, obviously, because like women are smart. I feel like when it comes to social skills, women are much smarter than men. So we pick up, and I immediately understood that, look, he just moved from Italy. He's new to the city. He's just looking to make a friend. He doesn't have any like other intention with me whatsoever. So that first of all makes me feel safe that he doesn't want anything physical with me, or he's not flirting with me. He's just looking for a friend, which is very attractive. So I invited him over to come and hang out with my other friends. Because I felt like, oh wow, okay, look, you're a good guy, and I don't mind you hanging out with us.
So he's safe and he's kind, right? That's all your bar is for a guy friend.
So you can even find somebody in your office. Really, you don't even have to go very far.
Yeah. So I hope that answers your questions, Fred91. If that's a Fred I'm thinking about, make yourself known. Sam, when will you visit Berlin? Thanks for the nice content. I've been to Berlin many times, but I prefer Hamburg.
So have I.
I've been. Blair's been as well, so you might find her there. I've been single for 18 months after my girlfriend left me. Since then, I've had a period of involuntary celibacy to the point where women don't even notice my existence, and it does make me jaded. Bro,
that's interesting. I've been single for 18 months after my girlfriend left me. Since then, I've had a bad period of involuntary celibacy. What does that mean?
So there's there's a thing called incel culture, which is basically 80% of guys, though they wouldn't care to admit it, which is just basically wanting to meet women and not being able to have sex, right? Celibacy is not having sex. Involuntary means they don't mean to, right? So there's a lot of guys in this position, and they get very these guys, well, obviously that it's fucking obsessing. So you get lonely, you don't have any sexual outlet for all of your sexual energy. You talk to girls, you be nice to girls, and you just get ignored. So they start to, I'm not saying it's about you, Flores, but a lot of guys start to actually hate women, deeply hate them.
Hate women.
Yeah, many guys, right?
Okay.
All of the shit that you see online, if you spend any time
Yeah.
looking at feminism and misogyny and all this nonsense that we see in the media, a lot of that is down to, guys fucking women over, like guys on dating apps fucking women over, women getting jaded, and then men who aren't getting any sex saying, well, you're just choosing these guys who are fucking women over, and now you're complaining that they're fucking you over. Meanwhile, I'm over here and you're not even looking at me because I'm not good looking enough and this and that. But on the other side, looks is a lot about presentation. If you get ripped, you get in shape, you get a six-pack, you dress yourself nicely, you smile better, you fix up your teeth in whatever way you can, you sort yourself out, then you become attractive, and women will start to go for you. So there's this kind of self-fulfilling prophecy of laziness on each side. However, I'm not saying that you're lazy, but let's answer this question properly.
Yeah. I've been single for 18 months after my girlfriend left me.
So let's fix this for you, Flores. Bro, if you aren't in good shape now, if you are not working out in this position and you haven't got yourself in really good shape, you're not dressing well and learning how to style yourself, then you have no right to be jaded, because you have to fix yourself first. You can't expect people to like you if you're not putting in that effort. Now, if you are putting in that effort and it's not paying off yet, then you need to start going to the right environments. Blair and I went to church 2 weeks ago because both of us like the idea of, I'm not a Christian really.
Neither am I. I'm a Hindu, yeah.
But we both like the idea of like some sort of like wholesome community where people are doing something that feels good and like is in service of something bigger. And there's just nice people there. We met loads of nice people. If you're not putting yourself in these community spaces, going to gym classes, yoga classes, martial arts classes, if you're not getting out house 3 or 4 times a week, putting yourself in environments where, as we said, you can meet just one girlfriend who can prove to you that, you don't need to be jaded, that women aren't all bad, they're not all the same. I see many counterexamples in my life, and even you are slightly a counterexample, because the types of guys you go for are not who I would consider to be the typical ones. So bear all of that in mind. But RJ Flores, it's your responsibility not to be jaded, because if you're jaded and you're not doing everything you can to improve your own circumstance, then that's your responsibility. And so I'm sympathetic, but my sympathy doesn't help you. Your action helps you. So you have to fight your way out of that position.
If I could add to that, I actually want to share a personal experience. So a few months ago, actually, I bumped into this tourist who had just moved to London. He was here for a new placement or an internship. He was from America. He was only in London for like 3-4 months, and we bumped into each other at a party, and I really liked him, and we started talking, and he actually asked me on a date, which was perfect. So we went on a date. It was honestly a really great date. Like, he made me laugh. We talked about a lot of stuff. We spoke for hours and had the best conversation ever. And I found him very attractive, and I think he was a very good looking guy. Like, he actually had like 8-pack abs, like blonde, blue eyes, like very Zac Efron looking kind of guy. And I feel like, how can he have, obviously he doesn't have any insecurities, but anyway, wasn't him. No, he's American. And anyway, and then things developed. And one night I go over to his place and he tells me, I'm sorry, I'm not able to do anything with you physically because I'm still in love with my ex-girlfriend. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. And you know what, like, fine, fuck it. Like, I don't want to date you, but I still want to talk to you as a friend. So what's your plan here? And he's like, yeah, so I broke up with my girlfriend a few months ago. And I'm like, whose decision was it? He's like, it was my decision. I wasn't ready for the level of commitment that she wanted. So I decided to break up with her. And I still can't give her what she wants. So I had to break up with her. And ever since, I've been on dates with lots of girls, but I've never been able to be with them physically. And then I'm like, why is that? And I feel like you're in a similar situation. It's like it wasn't my fault, and it wasn't the fault of the other girls he has been out with as well. Like, they're perfectly pretty, good looking girls. I had the perfect conversation with him. I was being like nice and understanding. Like, so I feel like if you can't really be with me because you're still in love with your ex, that's totally your problem. And I feel like it's your job to fix that and move on.
Right, but his ex-girlfriend left him, and now he's in a position where he cannot meet women, no one's paying any attention to him, and there's a lot of invisible guys, right? There's a lot of guys who just walk around, and as a girl, you're always going to get attention, regardless of how you look. There's always going to be a guy that wants to fuck you.
Yeah.
As a guy, that is not the case. As a guy,
Okay.
you have to fucking fight. You really have to go. So I don't think that's the case with him, because he's not I guarantee this guy isn't going on dates. He's
Oh, you
trying to
aren't?
get
Okay.
he's trying to get on dates. Like, his issue is like no woman pays any attention.
To be honest, maybe you're trying too hard, because sometimes if the guys are desperate, believe me, we can
Yeah.
sense it so easily.
Right, but Blair, there's
Like-
guys in the building in which you live that you just won't even notice. They just drift by and you don't even see them, because they're small. They make themselves small. They're introverted. They're insular. They don't speak much. They're not attractive in any obvious way. These guys just literally move through life being unnoticed by everyone, and the level of loneliness that a guy like that gets to is impossible to imagine for a woman. So I think, and it is something that is specific. There's many things that are specific to women that men can't
Yeah.
understand, but that is something specific to men that a woman can never understand.
To be honest,
So what
yeah.
would your advice be to him in terms of, like, he's in a place
Okay.
where women just don't pay attention to him? Like, it's
Yeah.
not even the guys that get attention and don't know how to use it. No one fucking looks at him. He never gets an indicator of interest. He never gets a girl
Okay.
talking to him. What would your advice be to him, just from a female perspective?
To be honest, like, I obviously cannot relate a lot. I think not a lot of women might be able to relate
Yeah.
it, because I personally never had this
No, of
issue.
course.
Well, sorry, not to be
Yeah.
arrogant, but I
No,
didn't.
of course you didn't. No woman has.
And I would say, like, you know what, like, I think a lot of other girls, my friends, like, we may look a bit like tough. It may look like we have a wall, and there are only a certain very like perfect guys who can break
Yeah.
that wall, but it's not always true. I feel like sometimes, say I'm sitting alone, right? Like, it happens to me a lot of times. Like, it's 8 p.m. I'm alone. There's no one I really want to talk to, or maybe I don't have anybody to talk to. I'm just alone, maybe reading a book, having a drink, scrolling through my phone, in this social room just where we are, just alone. Just like a bit bored myself. And I feel like I can socialize, but maybe I don't want to, because they're just a bunch of people downstairs who I don't really give a shit about. And I just want to be alone. So if someone approaches me when I'm sitting alone and I'm just looking for a conversation with a nice man, it doesn't really matter to me what you
Right.
look like. You may be the ugliest person, you may be the boring person, not saying that you are. You may be dull, we may have nothing in common, but as long as you come up to me and we have a good conversation, and I feel like, you know what, you just want to be honest and talk to me about something
Right.
honest and pure, without any other intentions, and
100%.
I have the same conversation, and I just want to talk to you about how I'm feeling, because we have down points too. Everyone in life has down points, and we established that connection. It wouldn't matter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a very, very good point. You just need one opportunity, because as we were saying before, you made a very good point, which was that as a guy, you just need to find one good girlfriend, and she can be your connect to a social circle. And once you have a social circle, people pay far less attention to looks. Like, you've forgotten how your boyfriend looks after like a month.
Definitely.
It's just all his
Doesn't matter.
personality. So for a guy, it's just like, okay, I know that my looks don't matter after the first month. My personality becomes the way I look. You know, it's the same with women even. Like, you could be with a very, very beautiful girl.
Yeah.
But after a month or two, you're seeing her expression. You're seeing her nature. You're seeing all the things that are behind the looks. The looks, it becomes normal.
It becomes normal.
So, like, as in Rory's, RJ's case, I would recommend exactly what Blair's saying. Find one opportunity, one friend, sister, friend of your sister, a girl that you often see in your building. Just friend zone the fuck out of her. Just completely friend zone yourself.
Yeah, and she
Really
could
get to
even
know
she
her.
might like you. Who knows? She might fall for
even
you
like-
as well.
If you spend
Like,
enough time, she might.
I
like
would say even with
and
my
her friends
ex,
might.
I wouldn't say my ex was the most good-looking guy in the world. He was very average-looking person, and all he did is that when he approached me, I was he approached me when I was at a low point in life, and I was just like sitting, chilling in the jacuzzi, just like not feeling okay. And when he came up to me, he was just like calm and collected, and he created that safe space for me, just like a support group for me to open up to and talk to. And I just like poured out to him. I remember the first time I spoke to him, I was crying. In fact, I was just telling him everything I've been through and what just happened to me, because I had just gone through a bad incident. And he was just like calm and collected, and he was a total stranger. He had absolutely no reason to talk to me. In fact, he should have thought I was a crazy maniac just sharing this with him. But he didn't judge me at all.
100%.
Didn't judge me at all. Didn't make fun of me, and was totally supportive. And obviously, when I was crying, I looked pathetic. Like, I didn't look like what I look now.
Right.
But then he got rewarded for it, because after a week I was in the right state of mind. I was happy, calm and collected and normal again, and he ended up with a very pretty girlfriend. Yeah,
a very pretty girlfriend, if she does say so herself. But what did he do there? I mean, he put himself in a social space, he put himself in a public space, and he took his chance. That's all you can do.
And I would say he took a risk too, because the state he found me, I don't think any other guy would have liked
him and given him rabies, Blair.
For all you know.
Pagan. So yeah, guys, if you're in that position, you have to do the best that you can with what you have. As I said, when I was 18, 19, I looked like shit. Like, I had an eyebrow piercing here. My hair was like this. I was hunched over. My posture was bad. I spoke in a high pitched voice, and I didn't have, like, I didn't speak up in groups. Like, I was just an unattractive dude. No one said I was good looking until I was like 19 or 20. And then I still don't believe I'm very good looking, but I think I've almost done everything I can to make myself look as good as I can. And if you haven't done that, if you're overweight, if your skin is bad, if you dress badly, if you don't take care of yourself, and you complain that women only go for good looking guys, if you haven't done everything you possibly can to improve your state, then you have absolutely no right. It's a lack of responsibility. But I'm saying this with love because I was there, so I understand it.
Yeah, and I would like to add to that as well. I feel like everyone keeps saying things like, don't judge a book with its cover, look for inner beauty. But to be honest, I only agree to it with some point. I feel like some of us are born beautiful. Yes, of course, like some of us are Gigi Hadid and Bella Hadid, but not all of us are born beautiful, but we can make ourselves beautiful. Like, I myself had serious acne issues. I have done treatments for 2 years. I've done like laser treatment, Blu-ray treatments, lots of painful chemical peels. Like, I have had very painful acne treatments. I had to make myself presentable too. I swim every day, because if I don't swim, I gain intense belly fat. Like, I feel like girl or a guy, most of us are not born beautiful, and we do everything in our power. It can be cosmetic treatments, or just like going to a parlor, or even going to the gym, even eating healthy. But I feel like it's your responsibility to take care of yourself. And in 2022, there's so many things out there cosmetically, diet plans, trainers and everything, that it's impossible for anyone to be ugly. Even if you are, you can make yourself beautiful.
You can certainly do a lot with what you've got, and we just got to take responsibility. Like, some of us have a bad lot. Some people might be born without an eye or without a leg. It's like, if you turn up as the guy without a leg or the guy without an eye, and you are confident despite that, people are like, shit, where does this guy get his power from? Right? Where do they get? If I meet a girl and she's like missing half her face, and she's got burned off.
I've seen like people who have been in fire and actually burned off their face.
If that person like rolls up and they're like just pure, and they've figured it out, and they've managed to be confident through that. Yeah, that's insanely attractive.
I mean, we have all seen love stories. Yeah,
but like, it makes you want to be around that person, because you're like, from where does this person derive their power? Mm-hmm. Like, what have they been through? How did they do that? Like, I want to know what this person's about. So as a man, you don't have to be beautiful. You can be dangerous. You can be powerful. You can be like someone that's just grabs the attention, and it doesn't just have to be beauty. You've got an advantage in the sense that you can you can be an avatar in other things than beauty, right? You can be fucking just super charismatic. You can be super confident. You can be some guys go dangerous. They're not good looking, so they just get face tattoos. They get fucking big, and they just become dangerous. Blair, we've taken up like 2 hours of your time. Yeah. Let's close it off, guys. Any final thoughts? Do you have any thoughts on the movie Hitch? No, it's pretty true more or less, but a bit glamorized, a bit too Hollywood. Final question. We got one more question we're going to ask, and then Blair's going to go on a mystery surprise thing, and and I'm gonna go somewhere else. So, Merry Christmas, lads. Thanks, Fred. Thanks, mate. Take care, guys. I hope you enjoyed this, and do watch the other one, and get in touch with me on a call. I'm doing free 45-minute calls for the Christmas period until the 22nd of December. So get in touch with me. We can talk. If you want to talk to Blair one-on-one, she's actually said that she'd be willing to do that as well. So if you want to talk to Blair about her experiences or get in touch, we can do that as well. How do I approach women as a brother? Bro, it's the same. As a brother, you got to just do the same thing, man. Just be yourself. Yeah. Don't conform to any type of identity or stereotypes. Use your own language. Use your own style. Yeah. As
long as you're true and honest, that's enough.
Yeah, more lives, bro. More lives. Do you want to see Blair again, Zach? Blair can come back on another live. We can follow up. Thanks a lot, guys. Appreciate you guys watching, and I hope you have got something out of this. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Say goodbye, Blair.
Bye guys.
Good.